We're live. Moto Monday number 124. And we have power, we have internet, and we have a bike. We're actually all set up. This is doing pretty good. 2020, I was afraid it was going to start raining frogs.
Oh gosh, who knows what's next?
What have we not had? Let's see, we've had a pandemic, worldwide pandemic. We have had, well, obviously the fires. We had, 3 months of riots over in Portland? Whatever it was. Long time of riots. We have had, it's like, what next? We're going to have frogs falling from the sky.
Basically.
I have to just basically get into this mindset of whatever happens, I can't be surprised because it's 2020.
Yeah.
Anyways, how's it going, man?
Getting by. Taking every day like I should,
I think that's all we can really do this year. So, yeah, we are live here. We got Noa Smith in the house, and we're going to be doing a little bit of talk about, we're going to get to know you and chat with you, but we're also going to be talking about your uncle, who, was a friend of mine, raced motocross around here in the Pacific Northwest, Mark Bunker, who had a accident, which I'll go into later, and I struggle a little bit. I'm not good at these kind of things. I don't really know what's a good way to approach this, and I didn't really know how to talk about it. So I'm going to do my best. If I screw it up, I screw it up. But yeah, Marky was a cool dude. He's someone I've known longer than anyone in the moto scene. As I was telling you right before we went live, I've actually known him a long, long time, and it's just it's not really a specialty of mine how to handle people passing, especially people I know well. I don't know what's respectful and disrespectful, and it's like I don't know if I should talk about it or not talk about it. So it's for me personally, it's a weird thing. But I felt like this would maybe be a good way to talk about him and just kind of some of the stuff he did. And obviously, you knew him very well, and I thought no better person to bring on than you. We had just been chatting. We did some numbers for your bike with his number, last minute for Top Gun.
Yeah, and you slammed those out.
By the way, I had no idea that they did that. What did they do? Like a lap around?
A memorial lap.
I had no idea they were doing that.
Oh, really?
No one told me. And I saw the videos, I had no idea. That was super cool. That was, I don't know whose idea that was. Do you know who kind of started that?
By what I know, it was David and Marissa Coffey.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah, they got a hold of the guy at Washougal for that, and they basically helped set that up.
Okay, so then shout out to the Coffeys for putting that on, because that was cool. I had no idea. I think Mike Smith said a little something up there about him.
Yeah, he did.
Which Mike was just a guest here. Was it last week, guys? I think. Last week. Yeah. I lose track of time. I've had a lot of concussions. But yeah, he was here just last week, and I saw he did. He got on the mic a bit, and man, that was cool to see. It was cool to see the whole community come together.
Yeah, that man touched a lot of people's hearts,
So we're going to get into some of the stuff he's done. First, though, I got to give a few shout-outs to some people who've helped put on the show. First off, check out this coffee cup here. We got some Moto Monday cups, but I'm going to be drinking out of this Crown Moon coffee. If you guys are local to the Clark County, Washington area like I am, you should go check them out. If you're going to Woodland Motocross Park this winter, they're very easy to find. They're on the way. They're in Woodland. Mention Moto Monday, you're going to get a 10% discount on your coffee. They might have muffins and other stuff too. I don't know if it applies to the muffins, but I do know you'll get 10% off any of your drinks. So check them out. Crown Moon Coffee. Got the mug here. And it takes a lot for me to drink out of something other than a Moto Monday mug, but I appreciate people supporting the show. And I'm 2 weeks late, and I realize I'm 2 weeks late, but Moto Monday has a Patreon now. So if you guys would like some behind the scenes footage, if you'd like some fun photos, we're also going to do, what do we call it? A 5 for 20, basically a 5 minute. Yeah, by the way, get ready. I'm going to ask you 20 questions in 5 minutes later.
Oh, man.
The 5 for 20 and some fun content as well as drawings, swag such as this new shirt if you're watching video. Moto Monday is essential. We got sticker packs, all sorts of goodies on Patreon. If you guys want to check it out, it's patreon.com/Moto Monday. Pretty easy. If you guys want to support the show, we're doing what we can to put this on. to try to basically, the whole thing with Moto Monday is just get to know different people in the Northwest moto industry. Sometimes we branch out and take on other stuff, but it's mostly a Northwest moto thing, and we just want to get to know the people in the industry, especially like the people who are the promoters, medics, some of the pro racers, just anyone who has interesting story. That's the whole point of having Moto Monday. I think it's a fun way of, how do I put this? You think after all these episodes it'd be better with my words, but it's a fun way to get to just know people. Because, for example, I've met you a few times, Noah.
Yeah.
We're about to sit down for a couple hours. We've never sat down for a couple hour conversation back and forth, and we're probably going to leave the studio knowing each other a lot better.
Definitely.
I've brought on people that I've known for over a decade, and I got to know them more in one podcast than all that time, because it's a lot of passing type thing. But when you're just at a table, a couple chairs, and just chatting for literally several hours with no distractions other than just us having a conversation, you really do get to know people. And the cool thing about a podcast, and everybody else does too. And I think that's kind of the fun thing. That's why I enjoy watching other podcasts. I love, shout out to, not that he needs one, Joe Rogan. I love Joe Rogan.
He's good.
He brings on people, and at the end of it, you feel like you know them a little more. It's kind of cool. So I'm blessed I get to be able to do that in my kind of community, my little circle,
Yeah,
you get to know
definitely.
people, and then everybody else kind of gets to know them a little more too, and you get to hear stories. So it's fun. So if you guys want to support us, we have a variety of different things on Patreon. Check it out. Just started it today. I know I'm 2 weeks late. Yell at me all you want. Patreon.com/Moto Monday. And of course, got to give a shout out once again, if you guys are in the Clark County area and you want, let's say, a track built, which this fall would be the prime time to do it. You want to get it done before winter. When we get frozen ground, you're probably not going to get a track built this winter. If you want to get a track built this fall, maybe you have some brush clearing, any dirt work done. Sponsor of the show is Rooney Dirt Works, and you can hit them up at 360-999-0807, and just mention you heard about it on Moto Monday. If you guys need any dirt work done, he can definitely help you out. He's a motocross racer himself. Call Tanner over at Rooney Dirt Works, and I'm sure he can get you taken care of. So with that, I think I got my shout outs. Other than, of course, I got to shout out Bobby P Media. Got a big, if you're watching this, if you're listening, you're not going to see it, obviously, you're listening. But if you're watching this, you can see the giant Bobby P right here. Shout out to Bobby, helping us put on this whole show, definitely taking it to the next level, and I appreciate it, man.
That's a dangerous quote.
I got to have fun. Anyways, Moto Monday number 124. So,
Oh, yeah.
Noah, I guess maybe to start this off, we should probably give some context. A lot of the people watching already know the story, but I do know there's going to be some people that don't really know. Here's what I'll do. I'll try to do my best to describe it in real quick what happened, and you can help fill in the blanks. But Mark Bunker, he had a few numbers, 232, 236, then he did 23, I think, on his KTM. But Mark Bunker, super talented rider. He was one of the first people I ever met in the moto industry. My first race ever, we pitted next to him, and that's when I met Mark, when I'm like 11, 12 years old, something like that, at PIR. Or back then, we still called it Delta Park. And Mark was a cool dude. Known him for a long, long time, and basically had a freak accident. What's it been, a few weeks now?
Yeah.
Not a month yet.
No,
what are
not
we
a
at,
month.
like 2-3 weeks?
Yeah, because I missed up. No, I think we're almost at 4 weeks because I
Okay.
missed up to 2 weeks of work.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he basically had a freak accident in the Columbia River. Was out fishing, and I'm sure we'll never know all the details, but basically, from what I've heard from everybody, his kayak tipped over, and they didn't find him till like a day and a half, 2 days later, and
3 days later.
3 days later? Okay, 3 days
Yeah.
later, and it was kind of, it was rough on me to really, process the whole thing, because Marky was always, he was a decently fit guy. Like he was tough as nails, and he was a guy who, the most I'd ever really seen him do is maybe have a Coors Light, you know, and that's on a, you know, that was a rare occasion. He's a guy who was, you know, a parent, a dad, very responsible, and kind of, you know, had his life in order. He wasn't one of those like willy-nilly, like there's some people you hear like, yeah, I could see that they were kind of crazy, did dumb stuff. Mark was more reserved, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
And he had all his ducks in a row. He kind of did, you know, he was living the family life. He had a dirt bike, kid racing, and nothing made sense about that, you know what I mean? It was just one of those freak things, and that's how life, I guess, goes. But it was super hard for me to process, like, why him, you know what I mean?
Yeah. We ask that question every day to ourselves, you know?
He was a cool dude who was known for kind of having a head on his shoulders too, you know? I mean, we've all had our moments. I remember him kind of, you know, when we're 16, let's just never talk about when we're 16, you know? But like, dude, he was a pretty solid dude, and that was just kind of crazy to hear that he's just out fishing in his kayak, and then we don't find him till days later. It was a super sad thing for me personally, and I think for the whole moto community. He was a Loretta Lynn champion. He has been a racer in the Northwest for decades, and I mean, anybody at Woodland knows who the bunkers are. I mean, he's been around for a long time. I will say, it was cool to see at his funeral the Hills showed up.
Yeah, they did.
That was cool to see. There's a lot of people who remember him, even if they haven't seen him in a long time. Like, a lot of people have been touched by Mark, and it was cool to see everyone rally together for him. But yeah, so he was your uncle.
Yes, he was.
And I could definitely tell he had a little bit of an influence on you.
Quite the influence.
So growing up, what was it like growing up with him?
Growing up with Mark, Andrew Bunker Jr. was just amazing, you know? Having just the uncle who would do anything for you. He was right there. Like, basically, if you wanted to go racing, go riding, he was there. Do little fun things around the house, he was there. You know? It was just awesome. You know, a lot of people like that just got into the sport might not remember him as much because he was a little more on the quiet side. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Definitely.
For example, I was talking to someone at the track one time at Woodland, I'd say a year or two ago, when he was serving coffee. He was serving coffee for a while because the snack shack got stuck like in some kind of code violation, or I don't know what it was. Who knows? But for a while they couldn't serve food out of there until they did whatever paperwork. So he just stood over there with a coffee pot, and he was serving coffee to people. Was he there with his kids? Who was he?
Yeah, his kids ran it with him.
Yeah.
And then I would help out a little bit, but I was out there riding the majority of the time.
Okay. I was there. I was trying to help them announce at a race, and someone was coming up and talking to me, and he's telling me about, I was going to do this and this and that. He's going to race pro. And I don't know how we got into the conversation, but talking about basically all the hot shots. I'm like, yeah, you know, one of the fastest guys to ride out here, and by the way, Loretta Lynn B Class champion, is the dude over there with the beard next to the coffee pot. Oh gosh. He's like, who's that? I was like, the kids these days, man. Like,
oh, that's funny.
If you were around just a few years ago and watched him ride, or even now, like, I loved when he would just randomly, halfway through the day at Woodland, okay, we're going to ride now. Mm-hmm. And he could shred for about 2 laps, arm pump.
Yeah.
30-plus guys, we get that problem, you know, but he could still shred, man.
Well, he would always say his mind's there, but his body wasn't.
That's
like,
the
he
problem.
Mentally could go that fast, but his body just couldn't react, like, it couldn't last that long.
That's the problem all of us 30-plus guys have, is especially when we used to be pretty fast, and then we don't, you know, we got life and all that getting in the way. We hop on the bike, we remember what it's like, but the body ain't really doing it. Mark used to be really, really fast, and he could still put in like a good blitz or two, and just you're watching like, who is that? He'd have no graphics, nothing on the bike.
All mismatched.
Oh yeah, mismatched gear, or just like no jersey at all, just in a flannel, you know? Yeah. And that guy would still just throw fat whips, and people had no idea, like anyone like knew. Anyone like kind of still knew, like, man, yeah, that guy can go. It was, he, I always loved pointing him out because he's just the quiet guy in the corner. He was never that guy kind of strutting around, you know? He's just the quiet dude over in the corner, but when it was time to throw his leg over that bike,
Oh, it was game on.
Yeah.
He was a very humble dude.
He was very humble. I don't know if that ever hurt him and when he was trying to race, because, you know, if you want to make a career out of motocross, I have wondered if that did possibly hurt him, because you can't, you know, you kind of have to get your name out, and sometimes the people who are over the top with their ego and attitude do get noticed more. But I kind of like the guys who just go do their thing, you know, and that was always him.
Yeah.
He was never the loud mouth or whatever. He was just, when it was time to race, he's going to race you. Afterwards, he'd just go chill in his pit. Pretty quiet, pretty humble, laid back. And I would sometimes wonder if that hurt him, but it's not like he had a bad life, you know?
Definitely not.
No. So let's see. He was, I think, he was 35, mid-30s?
Yeah.
Mid-30s. He raced definitely Loretta Lynn's. I know he did some Canadian national championships. He traveled around and he finally settled on, like everybody, it's time to go do the family thing. And did you get to ever go to any big races with him?
I was born in 2001, so that was still.
Man, you make me feel old.
Yeah, he was still in his career.
You make me feel so old.
Oh, that's funny. But yeah, I went to when I was little. They brought me, and then we went to, I think it was Ponca or World Minis.
Yeah.
And they dragged me out there when I was little, and you could hear me in the background as they're videoing and stuff. But yeah, other than that, like the local I went to when I was little, but then towards the end of 2006 era, that's kind of like when he fed out and got into the family and Robin.
Yeah.
And then had Chrissy and Marky and
yeah.
So
who was the one who got you into dirt bikes? Was it him? Was it your parents? Was it him?
Oh, it was my
just
papa
everybody in
and
the family?
yeah, it was just there. You know, I started on a PW 50 when I was 4. You know, I was basically riding a bike before I was riding a bicycle.
Same here.
Yeah. So they got me on that thing with the little training wheels.
So is your whole family into moto?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
All of it. Okay.
Oh yeah.
So it was just kind of an accepted thing. We're riding dirt bikes.
Yeah, it's a way of life in our family, you know.
Yeah.
When it comes to Uncle, Papa, and me and my brothers, they're kind of in the left field, but Liam rides. Me and Liam, out of the brothers, out of the 4 of us, me and him ride the most.
Now, how old is Liam?
Liam is 9.
So he's racing, 65s?
Yeah.
50s or 65s?
He is on a YZ65.
YZ65, okay.
Yeah, it's the one my grandpa bought from my uncle.
I think I might have made graphics for that one then.
You did. You made the cross ones for it.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I made the graphics for it.
Oh, yeah.
So your whole family is into dirt bikes?
Oh, yeah.
So you've grown up, it's been dirt bikes from day one?
For 18 years, it's all I've thought about. I haven't thought of anything else.
So was Mark kind of like the star of the whole moto family then?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. It was definitely uncle.
Okay. So I got to do math now. You're born in the 2000s, man. I feel old. I feel really old right now. I started racing years before that. You think I'd be faster? So, 2001. Yeah, he was definitely still going pretty good in 06, 08 to 09. So I'm sure you made a lot of Woodland trips.
Oh, yeah. I grew up at Woodland Track.
So Woodland was like your home track?
Yeah. It's like 10 minutes from Nan and Papa's house.
What's your earliest memory of going out to Woodland Moto?
Going out to Woodland Moto? Oh, man, he would have cracked up if I was telling this story. He told my mother to not get a KTM 65. He was like, get a YZ or a Kawasaki. And she went and got me a KTM 65. And I was out there just I was in second gear and that thing was just grinding through the gears. And he went out on a 110 and was just like barreling after me, telling me like, shift down, shift. And I'm just like, and that thing blew up, but it's still sitting down in his house.
Wait. So your first time out there, you blew up your bike?
Yeah.
That's a rough start.
I grenaded that thing on that 65. That's the earliest memory I remember out at Woodland.
That's a rough start to Woodland.
Yeah.
Was he very involved when you started riding and racing more? Was he?
Oh, he was always there.
He's always there?
Always there. He knew how to read me. Like he knew how because I get in my head a lot in a race. I'm like a squirrel. I'm like thinking I'm like psyching myself out. And he would just dude, breathe. If you can just calm down and think, you could get that moto. And I'm always just in my head and then I just go, and then like the gate would drop, and I just take off, and he's just right there behind me.
So he was always there helping you. So you started racing 60s then?
I actually didn't start racing until I got onto a 125.
Okay.
Because that whole thing happened with my little brother when he got HLH. That put life on hold, was for him. And then I didn't get back in the racing until I was like 13 or 14.
Gotcha. Okay. Did you ever ride still, or did you just everything on hold?
Because we have a track in our backyard in Papa's, so when he would train on all the time. So I never stopped riding through all that.
Just wasn't really actively racing.
Because they were all in Seattle with Liam at a Ronald McDonald house.
Gotcha.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
So took a little break from actually racing, but you still rode, still stayed in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, for me, I rode for a long time, just kind of more trail style, like XR80 and stuff. I didn't race until I was like 12, though.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't grow up in the whole racing thing, and it's just interesting to hear some people like get in, get out, get in, get out. Some people got late. Some people literally been racing from 3 to now I'm 28. You know, I've been Loretta's when I was 4 years old. I never tried. I never went down that path. But there's nothing wrong with just riding either. So you took a little break from racing and you got into it later in your teens. Then so you started like racing on a 125.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a 1999 YZ 125.
Good choice.
Yeah, they loved that. We went through one of them that like it was not running right, kept blowing up and smoking hard. So we got another one, and then we ended up selling that one to the Coffees, David and Marissa Coffey, his son Ezra. So they bought that from us. That thing was fun, 2 strokes.
Good choice.
Oh yeah.
Mark was always a Yamaha guy. Think about it. Like when he got that KTM, it was weird.
That was weird. I remember watching.
What are you doing on an orange bike, man? That's like my bike. What are you doing? He was always a Yamaha guy.
Yeah.
Does that just run in the family then, or?
Basically, it started with him. Like they all just kept getting Yamahas.
You have a Yamaha hat. You have a Yamaha bike here. I'm just kind of wondering, is this just like the thing in your family? You got to have the Yamahas.
We bleed blue.
All right.
So.
Not everyone can, ride the cool bikes. I get it.
I mean, if I got a sponsor, I would switch, but.
Very solid answer.
Yeah. I'm open.
So have you always rode Yamahas?
Yeah, besides that KTM, I've never been off a Yamaha.
Has Mark literally always rode Yamahas too?
Yeah.
I can't think of him on anything until he just recently had that KTM.
Yeah, he bounced around with like Honda and then KTM, and he rode a Suzuki for a little bit.
Did he?
He did. But those bikes, they just didn't compare. And then he jumped back to the Yamaha towards the end of it on the 4-stroke and stuff too.
Yeah, seeing him on a KTM was strange. It's like it doesn't mesh. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
There's just certain people you're always used to seeing them kind of on one thing. When they switched it up, it's like, who are you? It's like gear. Okay, for example, I showed up and did some practice laps this year, and I wore Fox gear. Everyone was just looking at me like, what are you doing? I've rode Fly for like 14 years.
Oh, really?
And I didn't have, any brand affiliation for 2020. And I was like, I haven't had Fox since I was a kid. Might as well try a set. I actually bought a pair of Fox. I think I got some Troy Lee. I just mixed it up. Just, hey, that looks cool. Try it out. Yeah. But it's funny to see people just stare at me and it's like they're thrown off because they get so used to one thing. And that would be like me and Mark, or like seeing him on something other than Yamaha kind of just threw me off.
Yeah, definitely.
Because he's literally, since we were racing 80s at 12 years old, been on a Yamaha.
Yep. Yeah, and it was weird seeing him on a Kawasaki too, because he got a Kawasaki later on in life, in like 2016 or
so it was like
15,
a
16.
2-stroke or 4-stroke?
It was a 4-stroke. It was a like, KX 450.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't remember him on a 450.
Yeah. And then he also got that KTM, which was his final bike. But yeah, so he went from, he bounced around through all of them, and then towards the end he was on the Cowie, and they sold that through the Coffees again. He sold that one, and then he hopped on the KTM.
I don't remember him on that 450. I got pictures. I remember him racing against a lot of the 4-strokes on that YZ 250 of his out of Woodland. A lot of the guys were starting to make the switch over to 4-strokes, and he stuck it out on that 250 for a while and was doing just fine.
Oh yeah.
Just fine. I actually got some cool pictures. I'll remind me. I can send them to you tomorrow because I used to write for Cycle News back in the day.
Oh, okay.
So I would go to, like, Woodland was definitely one of my tracks. I'd go out there and I'd take a bunch of photos and write articles. So I got pictures of Devin Harriman on a Cobra 50. I got pictures of, well, yeah, Mark on his YZ250 throwing fat whips over the back. It's a table now, but it used to be, and it's changed a lot, but I think at the time it was more of a triple. It was kind of like a scooped out table with like a kicker out here. You jump all the way to the end.
Oh, he told me about that jump. He said
Josh Hill hucked it on an 80. It made the whole track shut down, just like, oh my gosh, he just did that.
That's gnarly.
It was cool growing up with the Hills. They literally lived only a couple miles from me. By the way, Justin and Josh, I sent you a message. I want you on the show. But watching them like grow up, Woodland was like their track, like growing up from like little kids until they moved. Dude, Josh was something else. Like Justin was still little. He was still like a 50 rider, you know. He didn't really come into his own until he hit 80s, honestly. Even then, Justin was always shadowed by his brother. But he was quick. But he was always just the little brother.
Yeah.
But he started to slowly turn that switch, and what do you know? He's the only guy in that family got a national championship. But he was always, growing up, it seemed like he was shadowed by, the Josh Hill. But yeah, you watch Josh ride. Even if he didn't win, Josh had that style.
Yeah.
Dude, he's always had that steez. Like everyone knows him for doing his transfer jumps and stuff. He's had that since he was a kid. He raced. They didn't let him race for points. He rode as basically just let him start with the 125 intermediate class at 11 years old. Dude, he went from dead last off the start and was duking it out and trying to slam the guy who was the leader in it all the way to the checkers. And we're just watching, like, he's 11 in the 125 intermediate, like the B class. He was just throwing fat whips. And I remember, I think he broke something hucking that triple. I don't remember. I don't know if he broke his frame, but no 80 should have hucked it back in the day because it was way bigger than it is now. I mean, it's a good boot now. It's a good jump, but way bigger.
Yeah.
And I remember Josh hitting that like, oh, okay, that's not right.
Yeah,
So
I feel like Justin fed off of Josh a lot too, his style. And just like, when you have a bigger brother going through the ranks, you can see everything he goes through and the mistakes or not mistakes.
I think he refined it though.
Yeah.
Have you noticed Justin's a little smoother? Josh is a wild kid. He's just full wild. I love watching him.
Oh, it's
But
cool.
Justin's a little, I think Justin refined it. He's got the steez, if need be. I mean, he has got good style, but I think he refined it. Mm-hmm. My opinion. This is just my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, doing the Albany practices with him up in Albany, showing up and riding, and then just like learning from corners and all that, you could tell like Justin's like really like, like you were saying, just like finesse.
Yeah, he has a lot of, like if you were to make a checklist of things to do right, he has a lot of those boxes checked.
Yeah.
He just does it well. And he doesn't go out of his way to throw crazy style. If need be, he's capable, but he keeps it, I think, a little more in check. Josh, I'll just quad that, whatever. Like, even if it loses time, I think he still wants to do it.
Basically, it seems like that.
I don't know of I would love to see literally him and Josh Hansen just go free ride for a day. Because, I mean, it's just wild.
That'd be dope.
We got off track. But those are some of the same people I grew up watching. Like, back when Mark was like the guy to beat. Let's say 06, 07, he was the guy to beat at Woodland. No one could really figure it out. He was so fast out there. He was just so fast and steezy. And he spanked so many pros.
Oh yeah, local pro, all right? And then going to like.
So what year did he go to Loretta's when he got the championship? You brought some stats here.
I did bring some
remember.
Stats. He went to Loretta's in 2001 of August. 2001 on a stock and mod 125.
He was already on a 125 in 01?
Yeah, stock 125 modded.
So he would have been, I guess that makes sense. He would have been like 14. Okay, no, that makes sense. So he was literally just moving up though.
Yeah.
Just off of 80s and.
Oh, and 2000 at Loretta's too on a 125 novice stock.
Really?
Yeah.
He was on, I moved up in I think 01. And that's only because I had a growth spurt and I was super tall, but I technically could have still ridden 80s. But I think Mark's a year young. Okay, I'm just trying to do the math. Mm-hmm. Not my specialty. But anyways, go on.
Dang.
So what other times did he go to Loretta's then?
I think it was just those twice.
because we're trying to figure it out. We know he got at least one championship. I know in the comments section it's probably blowing up right now with people who remember.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
But
But I got the facts right here, you know.
So he moved up.
2000.
I'm gonna look at some of these too, since they're all here.
Justin, hold it up. Hold it up to the camera.
This.
Turn it.
You want me to hold this one? Okay. Oh, now it's upside down for me.
I just stay on.
I think that was
Some of the stats.
That was his last one. I think he did for sponsors. These are all sponsor resumes. That
Cool.
his
So
mom made.
you found his old sponsor resume?
Yeah, Nana. She has she has binders like a
All right.
stack like this tall.
So I'm gonna read a few of these things. So this is cool, man. So this is his old school resume, man. Dude, we need a better mugshot. We need to work on this.
Yeah.
So, you know what I like on this?
What's up?
Goals. Train 110%.
Oh wow.
I like that. 2005, raced the MX1 Motocross Championship in Canada.
He actually
Top 20 in the 250 class. He was still pretty young in 05. Let's see, 125A class also made top 20. Pacific Northwest Championship Series. Top 3, 125A, 2004. 2004, oh yeah, 4-stroke nationals. Albany Pacific Northwest Championship, 2004. Went back to Canada, got a 23rd and a 13th back in 2004. 4-stroke nationals again, making top 10 at the 4-stroke nationals in 2004. Moving on to the Spring Classic, top 20 4-stroke pro down in Texas, and a whole bunch of wins at Woodland, win after win after win. Pac West, pair of second places in the championship, 125 250 class. And the list goes on. I'm going to scroll down. Oh, here's Ponca. Yeah, he did Ponca back in 2000.
Pac West series back in 2003.
Back when Pac West was Pac West. Like, it's come back, but back in the day, man, Pac West was like a big deal. It's kind of funny. It's like the big series that travel around aren't really what they used to be. I don't completely put my finger on why, but it almost seems like, I don't know. Actually, I'm not even going to throw out my theory. I don't know, but back in the day, those series races, and especially the amateur nationals, were huge. Like, Loretta's is huge now. Man, you should have seen it back in like 2000.
Oh man.
And it was, and then
imagine.
Ponca, like Ponca doesn't even really exist. Like Ponca back in the day was big deal. You're getting 1,400 racers all in one spot, the best of the best, and it's wild. And you get Cycle News would do like a 6-page spread about all the stuff going on. Michael Essie battling Millsaps and blah, blah, blah. Villapoto came out of nowhere. You don't really see that. I kind of miss that. Those were like the glory days. Now it's cool. Like, Mark got a race in the glory days.
Oh,
We haven't
man.
really had that in a while, but in my opinion, once again, this is totally my opinion, is those are the glory days.
Well, I wish I was born in the 80s so I could grow up through the 90s racing.
Dude, you missed some really weird music. The 90s had some weird stuff going on.
Oh man.
You missed grunge music. That could be good or bad. You missed some really horrible hairdos. Yeah, I feel like since like 03, we haven't actually changed it as much. During the 90s, there was a huge difference from 91 to 99. We got rid of the weird mullets are back. I can't even say that. Dang it.
Oh man.
Blade sunglasses are coming back too. There was just a lot going on. There was a lot of transitions. I think we've slowed actually the whole transition thing, but there was some weird stuff going on back then.
Yeah.
But it was fun. You got to see a lot of like cool stuff. We saw 4-strokes come out of it.
That's awesome.
I mean, it went from 2-strokes to 4-strokes. That was the cool thing that we got to see. Is like when we started, there was no 4-strokes. You're a weirdo if you had a 4-stroke at like a motocross race.
Dang, I can't imagine that now.
I know now, like the guy who shows up and tries to race the pro class on a 2-stroke
Now it's
is like the hero, the weird guy,
Yeah.
you know, and everyone's like high-fiving him because it's
You
hard.
hear that thing come blasting through the straight when you turn. Everyone turns their head because they hear the 4-stroke, the 2-stroke. It's like whoa.
Yeah, like Stank Dog, when he shows up, he's the weirdo, but everyone's high-fiving him for it, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Back in the day, man, there was no 4-strokes. Nothing. It was all, man, one thing I don't miss, though, was racing arena cross when it was nothing but 2-strokes, because all that smoke.
Oh, man.
Whew. You get high just sitting there. I was like, I need to go outside for a little bit, and because it would just completely fill up all the, like, our little local arenas.
Mm-hmm.
People your age they don't know what they got, man. It was wild back in the day, and you don't see the whiskey throttles like we used to have.
Well, I can only imagine.
Whiskey throttles, for whatever reason, were way more prevalent back in the 90s on 2-strokes. You don't do it as much on the 4-strokes.
Dang. Yeah, because it's more consistent power. It's no power band, you know?
Well, there were so many last lap battles with arm pump with people who would just like accidentally land off a jump. And you would hear it. You could hear it from the other side of the track, and you're like, oh no.
Oh, no.
Someone just, I saw Clark County Fairgrounds, a kid went through the wall, launched the berm, went through the wall, landed in the parking lot, and got up.
I just got it.
Well, I think he got a little bruised, but he got up.
That's gnarly. That's very gnarly.
Things are a little more wild. You missed the baggy pants, man. You missed some wild stuff. It was wild times. People running spikes on their helmet. You missed all the chrome shoulder pads. Dude, Mark always used to run. I swear he polished his blue chrome shoulder pads on his HRP chest protector.
Oh, yeah.
Because I had the HRPs too, and I had my chrome, but it got all dull and nasty looking, and his were always like nice. I swear he SC1'd them every time. They're all nice and shiny every time.
I'm sure. I'm sure. And he would also leave the tags on just to get on my papa's nerves.
What?
Yeah, he would leave the tags on his goggles. He would go race and leave tags on his goggles, just dangling.
Was this on purpose?
Oh, yeah. Oh, it was on purpose.
Was he bugging people, or?
No, it was just to bug my grandpa. He knew it would get on to his nerves.
He left the tags on his goggles.
He would leave tags on everything, just to get on people's nerves, especially Papa's. Like the goggles, you'd see him go out to drop the gate, and it's like just dangling in the wind. And Papa would be like, ooh.
That would drive me insane.
Yeah, he did it on purpose.
He literally was just harassing him?
Mm-hmm. When it came to that stuff, yeah.
Okay, that's funny. So he left the tags on? Like, was this a normal thing? He'd always leave tags on?
Oh, yeah. On his hats, on his goggles.
I gotta know more. Like, simply because it would just harass them?
Yeah, because he knew it would just get on my Papa's nerves. Just his nerves. Goggles, anything. Just leaves tags.
Was there a reason he was getting on his nerves, or is it just entertaining?
It was just entertaining.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know this.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
And also, the number 236, he's not very, what's the word, he's not very emotional, like that kind of like thing. But 236, Robin told my grandpa about this after all this happened, but 236 is Papa's and Uncle's number combined. Because 36 is my Papa, 23 is Uncle. And he combined them and never told my Papa about that. Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
okay.
He did it for Papa, and he never told him about it. He told Robin, but he didn't tell Papa.
So now let's talk about your bike here. So you came and talked to me like right before Top Gun, and which is about when the accident happened, right?
Yeah.
It was like right before Top Gun, and you had me swap out the number.
Mm-hmm.
Did you want to just rock it for then? I mean, are you going to keep running this for a bit? What are you thinking?
Me, Marky, and Liam are all switching our numbers. We all ride different classes, and it's always going to be different classes, but yeah, we're all going to rock 236.
So you think you're going to rock that for a little bit?
Oh, it ain't coming off there. That's for sure. It's going to stay 236, but when I had you make those graphics too, that was awesome that you just pumped them out. I was so worried you weren't going to be able to, and I was going to have to run the 727, but you just pumped them out so quick. It was awesome of you.
Well, I'll be honest, I barely pulled it off. It was a little gnarly to pull off at that exact time. I forget everything going on, but I was like, I don't really know how I am, but we made it happen. And I had no idea though everyone was going to do that parade lap out at Washougal. So I got to get a shout out to the Coffees, Huffman, Duvall, everyone who did that. That was cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I know everyone in motocross, we fight, we bicker. There's drama, there's stories, there's all this stuff going on. But we are still kind of a family. You know, the moto family thing is real, and if you think about it, families do that too.
Definitely.
There's a lot of families with a lot of drama. It is what it is, but I like to see that when real stuff happens, they literally do come together like family, you know?
Definitely.
So that was cool to see. I had no idea that was going down. And not that anyone should have told me. I just never heard anything. And then I saw the video and I saw some of like all the different parts of it, and you know, Jesse Smith captured a ton of cool moments from there, and that was cool, man.
Yeah, definitely. Robin also informed me about this bike too, is that my uncle, what's so sentimental about this bike is that he actually worked extra shifts just to go pick that up for me. Like, he worked extra hours just to get it because he knew he wanted to upgrade me, because I was on a 2007 YZ250.
Okay.
And he wanted me to be more competitive, so he went and worked extra hours and went and picked that up for me. So that was really awesome of him, because he was just that type of dude, you know? He was just there, like I said earlier. It was awesome. So it's part
So
of
he
the
helped you get the
sentimental.
bike then?
Yeah, he straight up. I was actually buying the bike from him before this happened. Like, I was buying it from him because I kind of like spread my way. I was doing my own thing kind of, and I wanted to take it somewhere else. But yeah, he bought that straight up for me, and didn't tell me he did extra hours for it. It was awesome.
Man, I didn't know that at all. That's cool.
Yeah.
You know, I hate seeing stuff like this that make no sense. It would almost make more sense if it was a motocross accident, you know. We're in a dangerous sport. We know this. That's part of why it's fun, right? Every time we line up, we get the starting line jitters, because we know it's going to be pure chaos as soon as that gate drops, especially the first 5 to 10 seconds. Gosh. We all know that feeling. If you've done one gate drop, you know what it's like. It's wild adrenaline. I hope I don't die in this first corner.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think getting the whole shot's one of the sketchiest things in the world, because you know everyone's on your butt.
Oh gosh.
Like, please don't crash.
I've done that out at PIR. I got the whole shot in the junior class, and I pulled away, and I stayed away, and I actually won that class. And it was, when you pull away, you just gotta get in that mindset of just being smooth, and you just can't. He'd always tell me, just ride like you practice, and race like you practice.
Oh yeah.
And that's
Which
how he
is
always
tough to
taught me.
do.
Yeah.
After the first corner, I'm usually good. But that's for me personally, that's my nerve-wracking moment. Is like, I hope I get this corner right and don't just tuck the front end.
Yeah.
Because there's 15 guys right next to me, and they're gonna run me over. If you get a dead last start, which I've actually done this when I was too nervous, I let everyone go. Because then it shakes the nerves off. It's like, okay, fine. After the first corner, like, okay, no one's gonna run me over, and then I can go chase them down. But dude, it's just high intensity, and it's part of what I think makes moto fun. But we know the risk. We know where I was going is we know the risk, and we know it's a dangerous sport. And if we crash, it's tragic. But you know that if you pass from, I've seen a few people pass from riding, and it's rough. It doesn't make you want to ride for a little bit, you know. However, then you look at it like, well, these are the risks we take, though. It's part of why it's fun. Is we're doing something extremely dangerous. We're doing it for the most part successfully, and it's kind of what I think adds to some of the fun. But to see someone who did that their entire life just have some bizarre freak accident fishing, that I'm still struggling wrapping my mind around it, man.
Yeah.
Not to keep bringing it up, I'm sorry, but like I'm sure it hit. I mean, he was family to you, man, and he was way closer to you than me. I can only imagine what you've had to go through and the rest of your family. And I don't even want to imagine like what his wife is going through.
Yeah. It was definitely a big blow to all of us.
I'm not even going to pretend like I understand what that's like. Just from my point, I know what it's like for me, and it's just, I struggle with it, especially the circumstances. You know, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I don't know if they actually posted this to any social media, but that line he went out to drop and was coming back and sadly lost his life to, they actually reeled in that line, and there was a monster fish on the line. They reeled back to shore from that line he dropped. That last line, he caught a fish on it.
They never got to get it, though. Yeah, man, it's just, I mean, it is what it is. These kind of things happen. It's just kind of wild to think that he spent decades competing in one of the most dangerous sports out there, and unfortunately, he lost his life fishing. You know, it's just kind of crazy to think about it. You know, but I'm glad that we get to bring a little light to him. We get to talk about him. You know, this podcast is a good opportunity to kind of, you know, get to know some of the stuff he's done and what it was like. It's yeah, like I said, I suck at these kind of things. I always feel like I never do a good enough job of just getting into it, or you know what I mean? Like, what's the right thing to do? I mean, I think he was a rad dude. I want to honor him. I don't know the right way. So if I screw up, it's just I always never know what to do in these situations.
Definitely. I don't feel like you could go wrong trying to honor someone. As long as you commit to doing it, I don't think there's any wrong way to do it.
I considered Mark one of my good friends, someone I could not see for 6 months. And he'd come sit down in my shop and we'd talk for 2-3 hours, you know, and just like we'd just seen each other the day before, like nothing, you know. He was one of those guys that we'd go through chunks of just doing our life, and then we'd just sit and just like hours go by, you know, just chilling. And yeah, I thought I have this platform. Obviously, he was your uncle. I know you. I just did some graphics for you.
Oh yeah.
Figured this maybe was a good way to, you know, honor him a little bit, get to talk about him, what it was like, and you know, some of the cool stuff he's done too. Like we went into the Canadian stuff, 4-stroke nationals. Dude, I'm taking a picture of this 110% thing.
Oh, we got all three here, yeah.
Yeah, so let's take a look at a couple more of these.
And it was just cool about like the legacy he's left, you know, like I wouldn't be on this podcast unless all the people he's been around and touched, you know, like nobody would know. I wouldn't be able to hang out with the Hills like I do without Uncle and Papa through their like the legacy he left. So he was just an awesome dude.
Raced with pneumonia in 01 at World Minis, and wow, he raced a lot of classes. 125, Loretta's 01. Loretta's in 01 with a broken left foot. Lovely, Mark. Good job. Break your foot at Loretta's. He broke it in the first moto. Of course he would keep racing.
He told me about one crash. He had a gnarly crash. I can't remember what track it was at. He said he came through the whoops and he just wadded it, and he went to go get on his bike and he went to throw his arm around and his arm wouldn't respond. Ooh. And he was looking at it, and he would demonstrate his hand was this way, but flipped around a full 360. And that's when I think he got one of these surgeries in here. He was all scarred up.
Dude, he's 110% again. See, that's why we got along. And there's a picture of him. Nope, I'm sorry, that's not a Suzuki. That is a yellow Yamaha. My bad. He's got the Hannah style graphics on it. Goals for 03, Mark says, stay healthy and train at 110% to achieve my goals physically and mentally in the sport of motocross, to keep my grades up in school, and to continue to hold up the values and morals I've been taught. Oh, bunker. Was it, okay, so let me ask you, was it ever intimidating though growing up with him and your family, and like, was it ever intimidating, like if I want to do anything, I kind of have that to beat? Or did you never think about it?
No, I always wanted to stuff him. Like my literal goal, I'd always tell him or tell friends around me, was literally just to be faster than him. Like literally just to stuff him, but he'd be waiting right there ready to tackle me once I came back around the track. He was always tossing us
Did you
around.
ever get the block pass on him?
No, I could not catch him.
Yeah, that's a tough one. That would be a tough one.
It's just weird. You'll hop on the track with him, he's just gone. And he just disappears, and you're just like, and you're trying to catch up, like go, and he's just like, gone.
So you never got to take him out?
Never got to.
I got to take out my dad. My dad was one of the goals. Okay, so I think one of my first ever big bike races, I had a race with my dad. You know what that's like? He hits the kill switch on the starting line and leaves me.
Dude.
Yeah, that's what I had to grow up with. Although I eventually did get to take him out. So, ooh. But my dad was not a Loretta champion. He was a good rider, but he was not quite what you had to deal with.
Oh man.
I'm just reading more of his stats. Woodland, So you only went to some local races with him, though. So was your first race Woodland?
Yeah, my first race was Woodland, and then we did PIRs, and then he took me up to do the Pac West at Grays Harbor.
Oh, yeah.
I got 4th overall in the junior class.
Nice.
And then I've never actually raced Washougal, which is weird because of the whole thing with Liam and all that. I've literally just bounced around. But Woodland's starting up soon, and I'm gonna do that whole series.
Nice.
I'm aiming for the overall trophy at the end of the year.
Nice.
So it's gonna happen.
So what's your favorite track?
Favorite track overall?
Yeah, if you just like straight up any of them on a decent day. Like they are all like you take any track on a decent day because we all know there's certain like I'm not gonna ride Mountain View in December. I'm not gonna ride Woodland in July. You know, they're like decent day for any of them. What would be your favorite one to ride on around here?
As of right now, it'd probably be Airway Heights.
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't see that coming.
I know, right?
Dude, Airway's decent though. It's just a long drive.
Yeah,
It's
that's
a
for
really
sure.
beautiful like facility.
Mm-hmm.
Like I mean, they mow the lawns. They have nice bathrooms. They got showers. It's
Yeah.
right next to a casino. It's pretty decent.
Yeah, this bike was actually broke at the time we went to Airway Heights, so I actually got to go practice on the KTM 450 he had. So when we went up there, so I actually was practicing on that because that KTM they're not like Yamaha's where it just hits. Like it's so smooth power,
Mhm.
the settings and all that. It was just that bike's nice.
Airway Heights. You know, I would ride there a lot more if it just was a little closer.
Yeah,
Little closer. For us, for people who don't know, we're down in very southern Washington. We're almost Portland.
yeah,
We're hop, skip, and jump away from the riots. Spokane is complete opposite end of the state. And it's the most boring drive.
it really is.
There's really nothing going on, just hills and nothing, and hills and nothing. And once in a while you see a rabbit, and it's boring. I hate the drive there, but I love the track.
Oh yeah,
If it was closer, oh hell yeah.
definitely.
And I think they do a great job of just the entire experience there. They do it like, I've announced a couple races there. The tower is kind of weird.
Oh,
You have
it
to go
is?
like this spiral thing, and it's like I feel like Rapunzel going to the very top of this little tower
Oh,
and
that's
going
fun.
around and around, and you're at the very top, and it's this tiny little room, but it's glass, 360 degrees around, and so you get to see the whole thing, and it works pretty good. But yeah, you feel like you're in this little pod up in the middle of the air.
Kind
It's
of like
kinda
at an
weird.
air base.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Yeah, exactly. Actually,
Yeah.
just like that. Yeah, that's
That's cool.
exactly what it feels like. That was a little unique, but it was great for seeing the whole track. They had good speakers, and I was noticing. Yeah, I'm a promoter too, so I noticed some of the little things like, all the bathrooms are well taken care of. They all got toilet paper. The grass has all been mowed, and it's green. It's not all burnt because it's
Yeah.
98 degrees right now. It's all green. They're watering it too. The track's prepped well. Oh, the gates all work. Like they do a good job of keeping it into a nice facility.
That track was just fun, like the step downs, and they would go into an S corner, and you'd come around, hit a nice tabletop to another jump. It was just a fun track.
Dude, that finish line, I overshot that thing so
Oh,
bad.
the step down? Oh man.
You got to be careful on that one if you're in the middle of a battle.
Yeah.
You forget that, oh, I can jump too far.
Definitely. That's when suspension comes into play.
Oh, I used every bit of my JMR suspension on that one. I went way too far. I have those mental, let's call them brain farts, I guess, sometimes, and I will completely screw up a jump. Like, oh, this is a 30-footer. Nope, it's a 70-footer, or vice versa.
Dang.
Overshoot something just way out to flat. For like the, okay, let's go to Riverdale for a moment.
Yeah.
The track by the river.
Oh, the vintage track?
Yeah, the vintage track. You know, they
Yeah.
only got one tabletop, really. You know that? Like,
Yeah, where it's like speed jumps.
I hit that first lap earlier this year. Launched way out to flat. Totally forgot it was a little table, and I hit it probably third, fourth gear on my 450. Just for some reason, I thought it was way bigger. I didn't sight lap or anything. I'm just going out, and I'm just in the air, looking like you're an idiot.
Dude, I had a gnarly crash at Riverdale. I was out there with the
I
coffees.
think we all have.
Yeah, we were out there with I was out there with the coffees. I was on my stepdad's RMZ 450.
Okay.
Because this 250, once again, my uncle was working on it, and I went out there. We are gonna do a 2-day. We are gonna be there for the weekend, and I get out there, and this was when that big track in the back where all the drag racing would happen. When they had that big track back there, they had a corner to like a 75 tabletop to like a 85 or 90 foot tabletop. It was like you came around a corner, and there was a big pond right to the left of it in the middle. There was tons of water. And I came into that thing, and it must have been a windy day. I jumped the first one, landed, came in for the second one, did a Chad Reed, and went off the side of the jump, landed in that powder, and I slingshotted into the water, and everyone's looking. They're like, oh, and I go, thump, 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 and I sink, and I'm swimming out. Everyone's like laughing because I'm okay at that point, and the bike's just standing there on the side of the jump. And I swim out, I'm mad, and I'm like, are you kidding me? And later that day, David forgot to put gas in his bike. So it died, and he was stuck in the middle where he was surrounded by water. And he's probably laughing if he's watching this because he knows what's going to happen next. He's like, I don't know how deep this is. And I go, oh, I'll check. I gas it, front end disappears. He drops his bike, grabs it. I go to catch myself with my foot. I go under again, new change of clothes, bike's submerged. We loaded up and left.
So you just basically couldn't get out of the water that day?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
It was gnarly. I'm glad that water was there though, because it kind of seemed like it absorbed. But when you hit water going pretty fast, it kind of is like concrete. But
It's kind of hit or miss. Yeah, it can definitely not be the best landing.
it was probably more like a rope swing type land, probably. You know, when you do a rope swing from.
Yeah, I did a similar one at the PIR Sippy Hole, back when the Sippy Hole was a true pond. And I did a fishtail thing. I ended up in the water, and the flagger never saw me. And I'm stuck in the water, my bike completely under. I have the one side of the handlebar out, and they start the next moto. And I was like, really? I was sitting there yelling. I'm in my helmet, so, and the flagger's like, bike's going on. The flagger doesn't hear me, and he's 30 feet away. He doesn't even see me, and I'm just sitting there like, well, there goes my bike. There goes the top end. And chuck it out of the water. I'm fine. The water actually that time was nice, and it padded the fall. But yeah, the bike needed a little love after that one.
We actually, Papa's gonna hate me for this. We actually have video of my grandpa, my uncle's dad, racing at PIR. And there's a phrase among our house that the announcer once said after my papa blew through the banners into the water at PIR, and he said over the mic, "Bunker went for a swim." You can just see him all mad, and he gets up and takes off, and we have it on VHS.
VHS, nice.
We have them like the little ones where you put it into the VHS and you put it in there and it reloads all the old tapes.
See, if we would have planned ahead, we could really embarrass them, and we could have like uploaded that video right now during the podcast.
Oh, that
and
would
then
have
really
been
embarrass
hilarious. Oh man, I'm gonna get a sucker punch later.
Well, it looks like it's about time to get out of here, at least for the first part of the show. But dude, I appreciate you coming on.
Dude, thank you for having me.
I'm sorry it has to be, kind of under a bummer circumstances.
Yeah.
But I'm glad we got to talk about kind of life, kind of racing Mark. Got to chat with you some more and what it was like growing up in the, Northwest Moto scene. And
Oh yeah.
I'm telling you though, you missed the 90s, dude.
I wish I was
You were born a little
82 or
earlier. You would have
something.
seen some wild, crazy stuff. It was, yeah. I didn't. We'll
would've
go into it more in the after show. We still got an
Yeah.
after show to do, but
Oh,
it
perfect.
was some crazy stuff. So yeah, we'll be back on live here in just a few minutes. So once again, dude, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it,
Thank you.
guys. This has been Moto Monday. What is it? 124, guys.
Yep.
120. I keep forgetting. Moto Monday number 124. Thank you for watching or listening. We'll be back in just a few minutes for the after show.